Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, it's time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Taylor's gone. Come on, touchdown, Indy! Woo! IU! America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop!
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this Thursday. So glad to have you along with us, no matter where or how you're listening, whether it's on one of our great affiliates like 97.7 ESPN, The Ref, always the right call down in the Evansville area, or up in the region on 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, WJOB. And in Fort Wade on Fort Wade's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Keep it locked right here on your radio dial. No reason to go anywhere else. And if you happen to be following on YouTube, well, just make sure you give us a like. Subscribe's great, but the like button is a lot more important for us, and we appreciate you. Looking forward to another fun day. Bob Kravitz will join us. Coach Shannon Griffith. We'll talk a lot of Indiana football, get you caught up. And man, Norman and Chris Denari will join us from the Pacers as well. But boy, I just saw that Norman Dale passed away. Of course, that's Gene Hackman, one of my favorite actors, man. But if I had known that, I would try to get Angelo Pizzo, and I'll maybe try to get him on for tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But I remember many times I've been able to talk to Angelo about the film Hoosiers. You know, Gene Hackman was not really a fan of it. He was a big-time star, but his star had faded a bit. And Hoosiers is kind of credited with bouncing him back. But man, hate to see that. I saw him as some of the fans wishing him as a candidate for. But the picture that ESPN shows when they list him is as Norman Dale holding the ball with a team surrounding him. Prolific actor, winner. Actually, that character was loosely based on Bob Knight, as a matter of fact, but passed away at the age of 95. Found by his wife, Betsy Arakawa, and their dog when deputies performed a welfare check at their New Mexico home. Oh, I didn't know it. He realized he lived down in New Mexico in Santa Fe County. But no foul play, of course. He was 95 years old. He had basically retired from acting, I believe. And ESPN talks about the loosely based on the Indiana high school basketball team in the 50s of Milan High School. The 1986 film Hoosiers features Hackman starring as Coach Norman Dale, a man who was given a second chance at coaching. No underlying tones there, I guess, Man. But given a second chance at coaching after his first one ended, after he hit one of his players, I think. I don't know if he was in the Navy, what he was doing. I forget. But great movie. Gives you a reason to go watch Hoosiers tonight. Gene Hackman passes away. Daggone it. Oh, he was one of my favorites. He absolutely was. One of the greats. Appreciate having each and every one of you guys along with us on the program today, and especially for those of you hitting us up on the hotline. I don't think that that's true, Jeremy. No, his wife and his dog found him, I believe. Was Mr. Hackman a former Marine? No, wasn't he he's 95, people. Everybody's coming up with reasons why he died. He's 95. There's 1,000 reasons. It's like that movie, A Million Ways to Die in the West. There's a million ways to die when you're 95. So that can't be kidding, right? I mean, no, so all three did pass away? Am I reading this wrong? Oh, no, that's right. I did. Hackman was found dead with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, and their dog when deputies performed a welfare check. My bad. I misread that. Thank you. So, yeah, someone just mentioned John, carbon monoxide poisoning, very possibly. Yeah. Holy cow. Damn. That sucks. Even more so. Thank you guys. I misread that. Richard asking what is the status of Ja'Kai Newton out of curiosity? I don't even know, to be quite honest. I don't know that it matters. He's not, I don't think he's available for this season, and I don't know that he'll be back in here next season. Because I don't know what the long-term deal for him is. So, yeah, I don't know is the question. I'm going to give you a Mike Woodson answer. I wish I knew. Yeah, that's terrible news, but appreciate everybody being with us here. Edward asking about Malik Renew. No, in the post-game presser, and I'll get that pulled up you can hear it for yourselves a little later from Mike Woodson. But he said that he was fine, but that he came down with something. They ended up taking him to the hospital, I believe. But I mean, it's not like anything serious. But he was not able to play last night, and you could tell it made a difference not having him to bounce off of. But I've got to be honest. I don't know how much of a difference that would have made last night with I'm not going to be able to pronounce this kid's name because first of all, he's got 3 names. None of them are easy. The big man for Penn State. I'll see if I can pull it up or pull it out. That is, I'll go with his first name, Yannick. How about that? Yes, I do remember that. Yannick Conan Nidera. That's not that bad. Only ended up with 16 points on the night. And I say that because I believe he had 9 early on in the first half. I know he had 9, but he had 9 even earlier than the first half. I mean, not earlier in the first half, but I meant deeper into the first half. And he was having his way with Umar Ballo. He even blocked a couple of his shots, and Ballo wasn't really scoring. Then he cut loose, and it made a big difference because Yannick only ended up with 16 points on the night. Ballo ended up with 20. Big night, 20 points, 12 boards, 5 assists. Here's a number for you. And I brought this up in the post game to the players. Indiana made 29 field goals. They hit 29 shots. On those 29 shots, 24 assists. How crazy is that? 24 assists on 29 made baskets. That's otherworldly, man. And Umar Ballo and Trey Galloway combined for 14 of those. Trey Galloway with 9. Another big assist night for Trey Galloway. 6 of 11 from the field as well. 4 of 5 from 3-point shooting for Trey Galloway. 16 points. 2 of 3 for Luke Goody. Indiana lit it up behind the 3-point line. 66%. They were 10 of 15. How many games would that have won? That's another funny comment from Mike Woodson. He said, I've been saying that beep all year long, talking about the ability to hit those 3-point shots last night. And he ain't lying. He ain't lying. But we hear from Mike Woodson as well. And in addition to Coach Shannon Griffith, we're going to talk some Indiana football, get you caught up on some of these visits, all the things that are going on right now. Indiana maintaining their hopes in the NCAA, getting that win last night over Penn State, albeit it was not an easy one. Boy, Indiana trailed for a good part of that game, but they did the things to stay in it. A much shorter roster. No Bryson Tucker. He's buried on the bench. It was basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was basically 6 players. 8 played. Hatton played 4 minutes. Carlisle played 10. But the other 6 guys played 23 minutes or more. Of course, Anthony Leal, Luke Goody, Ballo, and Balco, and Galloway started. And then Miles Rice off the bench. Can you believe that? But he has, off the bench, he has 13 points in 23 minutes, 4 of 6 shooting, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, or from behind the 3-point line. He had both of his attempts. Only 3 of 6 at the free throw line for a 90% free throw shooter. And that's part of why that game was closer than it should have been. It should not have been that close. Indiana at the free throw line, although, and both teams lit it up from the field last night. Overall, Penn State was in shooting 60% most of the night. They finished at 53%, 27 of 51. They hit 7 of 18 from behind the 3-point line for 39%. Normally, there's no way Indiana is going to win that game right there. I could stop right there. But Indiana shot 57% from the field, 29 of 51. 10 of 15 behind the long stripe for 67%. There's your difference, because at the free throw line, well, Indiana got better at the end, but still not good. Their percentage was horrible. Penn State hit 17 of 22, 77%. Indiana was 15 of 25. They left 10 points on the table there. So, could have been the deal. 14 turnovers, not optimum. Penn State was turning Indiana over a little bit for a stretch. But Indiana, with the 18 to 10 bulge in points off turnovers, Indiana out rebounds Penn State. And they win the war in the paint 36-32. But they weren't winning it early. I'm telling you, that Yannick dude was something. But at the end of the game, Indiana holds Penn State to 0 for their last 5, 2 of their last 10. And they're able to hold on to keep that win. Now they head west, young man, for a West Coast swing in which they will take on the Washington Huskies. Not very good. But they also will go to Oregon. So we'll see about that one before coming home to wrap it up against Ohio State. And I think Ohio State took an L last night. Not good for their NCAA chances, because they're on the border, man. Even though their net ranking is what it is, they are on the border. And I think last night may have hurt them. I believe they lost. And I hate those late night games. I got in bed at like 1 a.m. Let's see. Last night in the Big Ten, you did have, of course, Indiana winning over Penn State. USC. Oh, Ohio State pulled it out on the road at USC. So that'll be a quad one opportunity for Indiana when Ohio State makes it here. Also, Illinois handled, that was the day before. Oh, Maryland, Michigan State. Did you see that? Michigan State with the over half court, almost 3/4 court shot to win the game at the buzzer. Crazy. Caleb says the Zerno kid from Europe says he's still coming to Indiana next year. So there you go. Whoever the new coach is going to have a great start. Man, go to my Twitter X page, and I put up some highlights yesterday of Trent Sisley. I mean, all around highlights, shooting the three, standing out on the perimeter to shoot the three, but driving instead, rebound, dunks. He was a highlight machine. Check it out. He has improved his game vastly. It was a very, very smart move for him to go to Montverde. It worked out in the exact way in which he needed it to. He has improved his game immensely. And that's what the reason was for. Very, very wise move as he continues to improve his game, as he will be. So the coach coming into Indiana next year is lucky. You're going to have two guys that are coming in that are sticking. That doesn't happen very often anymore. But he will have that luxury, luckily for him. So you got that going for you. The rest of the program, the rest of the team, I'm not so sure on as far as anybody actually being left. We'll see. You never can tell, right? You never can tell, especially in this day and age of who's coming and who's going. But it's going to be a lot of newness next year anyway. But hey, no reason to think that things cannot go well. It does in a lot of other places. They're able to put together the things they need to do to win. That's all that matters. You've got to put together a roster that can win under your style and whatever coach that ends up being. Niederhauser, there you go. Mbako showing some energy. Yeah, what where did that's not. I had so many things pulled up here. Mbako, yeah, everybody. Anthony Leal was the only player not to score in double figures of the starters last night, but he had an okay night. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He was just doing his thing, 6 points. Wasn't trying to score. He was leaving that for Luke Goody and Omar Ballo and Mackenzie Mbako and Trey Galloway and Miles Rice, who were all in double digits. I mean, just a very efficient night for Indiana. Luke Goody doing exactly what he needed. He had 10 points, just took 4 shots. He only took 4 shots on the night. Kicked in 10 points, 2 of 3 from deep, 4 at the free throw line. He was perfect. Anthony Leal was 4 of 5 from the free throw line. Normally does not have hasn't been shooting well there. Umar Ballo, 4 of 6 at the free throw line. He was 8 of 14. What a night that was. Mackenzie Mbako, 6 of 11. He was inexplicably 0 for 4 at the free throw line. That's a major hit that you normally don't get. I don't know how that happened. Trey Galloway didn't get to the free throw line, but he was 4 of 5 from behind the 3-point line. Miles Rice, 2 of 2. Even Kanan Carlisle was 1 of 2, which that shouldn't happen. But I got to tell you, his 5 points came at a critical time. They came all this in the same bunch. He had a reverse layup. Then he comes down and hits the three. That ended a 10-0 run by Penn State. So it came at a valuable time. Those 5 points were important. It's odd, but this, and then you've got Hatton filling in for Renew. So had Indiana had Renew when they had to put Hatton in, probably would have helped. Obviously, there would have been some difference there. Russell asking, do parents get to tell coach if he can play their kid in the game? No. Totally. Just trying to see if there's any. What is your ceiling this morning? Nope, don't got that. But yeah, looking forward to another fun time. We've got Bob Kravitz that'll be joining us. Let's go ahead and take our first break from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday. Appreciate you guys being with us. We're back with plenty more on the backside right after these messages.
At Ben Davis Chevrolet and Ben Davis Ford in Auburn, we're your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs. We have the area's best selection of over 300 vehicles, including new cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles in stock. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll find it for you. We also have top-of-the-line service and parts, plus a collision repair center, and we're competitively priced on everything. For sales, service, collision, parts, and more, we do it all. Come see us today or visit us online at BenDavisChevrolet.com and BenDavisFord.com.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday, and that means a visit from our friend Bob Kravitz. How are you, sir?
I'm splendid. How are you?
I'm splendid. Love that. Or Splenda, one of the two. Just sweet, right? Oh,
you are a sweet man.
What is going on in the world of BobKravitz.com?
Well, I'm just following the Hoosiers as they make their run to the NCAA tournament. I cannot believe that this team is on the bubble. Can you?
Nobody can. Nobody can.
I mean, they lost 8 out of 11 at one point. They've won a couple of games here recently. But I'm like, somebody said maybe it was Lenardi or one of the composite deals said they're on the bubble, first one out, last 4 in, whatever. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? But I will say this about Mike Woodson. his teams have historically finished strong, and they're doing it again.
Yeah, they are pulling around. They've really done it had to do it with a short lineup last night as Malik Renew was unavailable, and that wasn't a plan. But they got a lot out of a little from the guys they needed to get it from. It was quite a battle with Penn State. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in double figures for Penn State. And then also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Indiana. That's a lot of scoring in a compact area.
Yeah.
But Yannick Conan Niederman, whatever his name was, he had his way early on, but then it turned out to be Ace Baldwin Jr., who had put in 22 points and with a 4 of 8 shooting performance from behind the 3-point line. He really pumped it in for him. But Indiana did what they needed to do down the stretch and got the job done again.
Now the question is, you got the West Coast trip, then you come home to play Ohio State. Assuming they hold on and win, win all 3 or 2 out of the 3.
Do they win 2 out of the 3?
What's that?
They have to win 2 out of the 3.
You got to win 2 out of 3. But does that get them into the tournament, or do they have to win some games in the Big Ten tournament in order to make it?
I think they have to win a game in the Big Ten tournament because they'll be the higher seed in my guesstimation when that tournament comes around. So you cannot lose to a lower seed, number one, and getting that extra win will kind of put them a game above what I thought that they would finish, as a matter of fact. Or
watch them go on some miracle run. Wouldn't that be hysterical?
Not really. Yes, it would be, but it would certainly be ironic. But
it would be very ironic. But I thought Galloway. I had to miss a good part of the game because I was in a class, which I'll tell you about later.
Yes, I want to talk about that.
Yeah, the comedy class. But I watched the last 4 minutes now, and Galloway was the primary ball handler the entire way down the stretch.
He had 9 assists
off the ball, and he played well too.
Absolutely, he did. He chipped in 13 points off the bench, and a good night, except for at the free throw line. 90% free throw shooter.
Yeah,
he was 3 of 6. Indiana's 2 best free throw shooters, Mackenzie Mbako and Miles Rice, combined to go 3 for 10.
Whoa.
That's the only reason the game was really close.
That's hard to overcome, but they did it. So
they did it with 3-point shooting.
I know. At one point, weren't they 9 of 12 or something?
I would say so, because they ended up 10 of 15.
10 of 15. I mean, who are these people? Just shows you, if only the last 3-4 years they had some outside shooting, Mike Woodson might still be here.
Well, it's not only that, though, but it's the way the lineup is constructed.
Right. No too
You've
big.
only got and that is something he just refused to get away from this whole time. And, well, you've been able to see, it's clear the difference that it has made for this team.
Oh, no doubt. They are a better team when they go with the one big.
Absolutely, and we'll see what they can get done. They have to head out to Washington and Oregon, which losing at Oregon will not kill them. It's an expectation. Winning at Oregon, well, that changes everything. If you win at Oregon, and you win out, you don't have to win again. I don't think. Well, I still don't think you can lose a game in the Big Ten, a first round game in the Big Ten tournament, because it will be against a quad 2 team, most likely.
And then you probably end up out in Dayton.
See, that's another thing. That's if you work in the media and you cover Indiana, the last time that this happened, Indiana had to go to Dayton.
I remember.
Was it on a Wednesday, or I think it was maybe
Yeah,
on
I think it was a
the
Wednesday
game.
against Wyoming.
Play the game, you win. I remember getting out of there at like 1:30 in the morning or something, maybe 2, but just driving straight to the Indianapolis airport.
Yeah.
Because to get on a plane to go to Portland. So that sucked. Let me tell you, it could have been someplace
us. It's all about our needs.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying that the NCAA didn't. That's not good for fans. It's not good for the teams.
No.
It's not good for anybody.
But I kind of look. I'm not a Woody fan, but I hate to see anybody get whacked. As somebody who's got whacked a couple of times in the last couple of years, I hope he has his last laugh. A little bit of success. To go out because he's still a great Hoosier.
Well, and the funny thing is, some of the post-game comments last night, one of them was about the 3-point shooting, how the shots went down, and I can't remember what the first part of the question was. I'll have to pull it up in a little bit, but it was basically talking about how the shots went down, and he said, "I've been saying that bleep for 3 years."
Yeah.
It's true. So
that is the truth.
But again, a lot of that, I think he misses. A lot of that is based because of how the offense runs differently.
Yes.
And allows for this and it promotes this and it fosters.
Spacing, man. It's all about spacing.
Yes. It fosters that kind of opportunities. And if you had even more talent out there, I'm not knocking any of these guys, but let's be honest. I mean, there are more talented players elsewhere. So if you had more talent, guys that are normally hitting 3-point shots at a higher clip, then everything changes everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to tell you real quick about my comedy class.
Yes.
Our show is March 6th at Helium. It's called Graduation 101, and it's just me and 3 others or 4 others.
Wait a minute, that's coming up soon, man.
Yeah, I better remember this stuff. But I did a rehearsal last night. It's next Thursday.
Yeah, well, thanks. After I had to use my toes and fingers.
Yeah, I understand. And my instructor says to me, you need to do, Bob, your material's really good, but you're really stiff on stage. So what I think you should do is let's do an experiment. Get a little jacked up before you come in, a couple of beers and whatever, and let's see how it goes. First time I've ever had an instructor tell me to get loaded.
And I'm sure that did not, you didn't hate it. That's probably some of the best advice you've gotten.
Well, we'll find out because I'm planning on doing it on Wednesday. Wednesday's our final rehearsal, so I'm gonna get a little bit in the bag and see how it goes. And if it doesn't go well, then I'll just go back to being semi-sober.
Well, see, the good thing about doing it the other way, about not being sober, is if it goes bad, maybe you don't remember.
Well, I'm not going to get that bad. I promise you. It's like 7 minutes of material. I don't know how your brain works, but I'm almost 60. Well. I'm almost 65, and I've sacrificed a lot of brain cells. And I'm telling you what, remembering 6 to 7 minutes worth of material off the top of your head is really challenging.
So what prompted this?
Midlife crisis, except I'm old. I've done it once before. I did it with a friend, with Scott Long. I did it once before and said I would never do it again because it was so nerve-wracking. And I was sitting around and I saw this thing at the Helium Comedy Club. And, with the one time that I did it, I wasn't bad. I wasn't great, but I wasn't bad. I said, what the hell? I need a challenge. I'm not writing as frequently for my website as I used to. I'm only writing once or maybe twice a week. I'm kind of ratcheting it down before I retire. So I thought it'd be a fun challenge. and a little mental gymnastics. Work out that brain a little bit.
So, do we get a no sample?
No, not unless you want to lose your FCC license.
Oh, we're going there. We're going straight. This is not a Nate Bargatze show then.
This is not what's not Flanagan.
Father Flanagan or Nate
No,
Bargatze?
Jim
Nate Bargatze
Gaffigan.
Yeah.
No, I'm not clean like Jim Gaffigan. There's a lot of stuff in there that is not suitable, as they say, NSA, not suitable for work.
Yeah,
not suitable for the radio.
I can imagine in this day and age, plenty. Well, I cannot wait. Make sure you head out to Helium if you're in the Indianapolis area next Thursday night.
Yeah.
Is that what time is that?
8:30.
8:30.
If you go on their website, I think it's called Graduation 101. So it's basically a couple of real comics, to keep the show together, and four of us newbies going out there and trying not to make complete asses of ourselves.
And how do these other three people? Was there like a class? Was it?
Yes, we did four. We're going to do, I think, 5 or 6 total classes. We've done 4 of them so far, and we literally have a syllabus. We have homework. We're working on putting together our bits. Like one week we write one minute about family. Another week it's 1 minute about pets, and we put it all together, and there's 6-7 minutes. So it's really a lot of fun, but it's very nerve-wracking. And again, I will get slightly blitzed before I go, before the next show.
I cannot wait. Make sure you head out to Helium if you can next week.
Yeah.
Indiana, meanwhile, rolling along to an NCAA tournament appearance, like you just said. But before that, we've got the Big Ten tournament coming up, and they have 3 more games, 2 of which are on the road out west.
Right.
That has tripped a lot of people up. You can't lose at Washington. There's a definite. Winning at Oregon, boy, does that do you some good. Losing's probably not going to kill you. And as long as you come back home, take care of business against an Ohio State team who is now just 3 games above 500, but has the highest net ranking of a team that bad that I can imagine. But yet they're apparently on the bubble. I saw that Mike DeCourcy had them in the first 4 out, maybe.
Where's Lenardi got them? I've seen some composites, but do you know where Lenardi's got them?
I do not, but that's a good question. I don't know, but I know that they're down there close to the.
Yeah, they're clear. They're on the edge. They're on the edge. It seems to me that they can't. They've got no more room for error.
No, a lot of teams like that as well. It's
exactly.
But and right now in the Big Ten standings, Michigan State alone a full game ahead of Michigan, but they will end the season against each other.
That would be a hell of a game.
Which is wild. And it'll be at Michigan State because Michigan coughed up their shot at the Chrysler Arena when Sparty visited here not too long ago. Now, then you've got Wisconsin sneaking along. If Michigan could no. I don't see Wisconsin having a shot.
I don't think Wisconsin can pull this off unless.
Although they've made a great run, man.
Great run. They're scoring a lot of points.
Yes, they are.
They are not the Wisconsin that we're used to.
No. Well, I've talked a lot about that with some guys about Greg Gard, how he's the most underrated coach in the Big Ten right now. And he has completely switched the modus operandi for Wisconsin. They used to be that slugger out, slow, sloggy, just watching the paint dry kind of a deal. And now it's like, better get ready. And he did it with having to replace 3/4 of his starting lineup who are playing at Kansas and Louisville and other places. Yeah. Esigian, H.A. Storr.
Right.
So they've got that going for them.
I'm sorry, I was supposed to answer something there, and I didn't.
Yeah, it was just out there. Maryland. Oh, how about poor Maryland?
Yeah.
Did you see the end of the Michigan State game?
Yeah, half quarter. Unbelievable. I'm glad I didn't have any money on that game.
Oh man, but that it doesn't really hurt Maryland because if they win that game, they're 12-5 there with Wisconsin. It makes a difference in the seeding of the Big Ten tournament. That's it. I don't think that anything hurt them as well. How about Purdue's fall from grace?
Yeah, that's hard to understand. I think in the long run they're going to be okay, but when the big guy, I mean, they don't have any rim protection. He's in Memphis. They have no rim protection. They're getting killed in the paint. Kaufman ran in first. If they're in foul trouble, they're screwed. They're really in trouble.
First just doesn't bring a lot.
He doesn't.
He just doesn't bring much at all. Trey Kaufman-Renn can score when he does not have to go up against a 7-footer, someone like that, because he's not a 5. He's a stretch 4 maybe.
Yeah.
And he does a good job there. But yeah, I can't believe Purdue hasn't gotten one of those 7-footers to be able to come around. But obviously,
they had the Jacobson kid who got hurt early in the season.
Oh yeah,
they had a 7'2" or 7'3" guy, I believe Jacobson, and he got hurt early in the season, and so yeah, Purdue without a big boy, it's kind of unusual. But the thing is, for Purdue to do anything, they need Colvin and or Heidi to come along, and they just have not. They have not taken the jump that they needed to take this year, in my view.
I am. That's something I agree with 1,000%, because both of those guys are players that I would have thought would have really been adding something to
right.
And I'll tell you, point out something else that could be helping them right now. A guy named Mason Gillis.
Oh yeah.
He's playing at Duke. He's going to be playing for a national championship, something that he could not have done at Purdue. Although they played for one, they would never win one.
Well, he was the perfect glue guy. The perfect glue guy. He could guard multiple positions, could score. Losing him was a big deal, but I'm happy for him. I just wish they'd stop doing those stupid card commercials with him. Here in Indy. They do card commercials with Mason Gillis and Braden Smith. I'm like, yeah, the dude's in Duke.
Luckily I don't have to see those. Rutgers is at Michigan tonight in Ann Arbor. Shouldn't be much of a problem for Michigan, but you never know. UCLA travels to Purdue tomorrow. UCLA could certainly use that win, but Purdue, surely they can end this 4-game skid, rather.
4-game, yeah.
Again, the Bruins need the win, but that's going to be a tough job to get done, especially UCLA has only won 1 game east of the Rockies in the last year.
And we know which game
that happened in Bloomington. But maybe Indiana's their spot. We'll have to see. But Minnesota, Nebraska trying to hang on to a spot in the NCAA tournament. They looked solid, then they didn't, and they came back, and so they're kind of fading here and there.
Yeah, Big Ten tournament's going to be really fascinating because you got a lot of it's a little top heavy. Then you got a couple of teams that I think have a chance. I mean, I this sounds crazy. I think Indiana's got a chance to do some things in the Big Ten tournament. I really do. I mean, I think we're finally seeing some of this vaunted, purported talent that they've had. I think they're starting to play that way, and I think going with one big is really key for them.
Is this part of your comedy routine?
What? No, it's not.
That Indiana can do something in the Big Ten tournament. It's not that I'm anti-Indiana. I think that Indiana can do well against certain teams. And I don't think that they can now. they're gonna play. They're gonna be the higher seed in the first game,
Right.
like
That's they can win a game or two.
Oh, absolutely. And then depending on what the matchup is in that second game, and they've got to be at full strength. You know, you've got to have Malik Renew, because I don't think they can go very far with just having Hatton come in instead of Renew, adding something to the mix. But it'll be interesting to see, because the last time Indiana was in that position, they were able to get a little something done, and that was before they headed to Dayton. So and that's where they'll likely be headed.
Let's not go to Dayton.
If Indiana gets in, I can't imagine it's anywhere but Dayton.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Dayton it is. We'll make a date.
Oh, well, you know what? Ironically, they have the last time I was there, I had time to kill, and I went looking for a cigar bar.
Really?
Found one that was just a nondescript former small house. And I'm downstairs and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, daggone it. Former player for IU, Butch Carter.
Butch Carter, yeah.
Was upstairs.
I'll be damned.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy times. What's up next for you, brother?
I don't know. I'm just writing every once in a while and trying to stay semi-employed. We just got a lot of it's college basketball season, and of course the Colts free agency is starting on March 10th, so that starts soon. But really, all that matters is my comedy career, such as it is.
I can't wait. 8:30, March 6th at Helium next Thursday. Go check it out. If you don't want to go for the entertainment, go to be a heckler.
No heckling. We haven't taken a class yet in how to deal with jerks.
Oh, I'm damn sure coming then.
All right.
Boo! Boo hiss! Boo hiss! Bob Kravitz from BobKravitz.com joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you, brother.
All right, brother. Take care.
Thank you. More coming up on the backside of Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after this. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Ugly Grouper, located on beautiful Anna Marie Island, Florida, is the place to be, and not just because they have unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. The Ugly Grouper is family-friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Marie Island, Florida. Tell them Indiana Sports Beat sent you. Go to theuglygrouper.com for more information. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
At Ben Davis Chevrolet and Ben Davis Ford in Auburn, we're your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs. We have the area's best selection of over 300 vehicles, including new cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles in stock. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll find it for you. We also have top-of-the-line service and parts, plus a collision repair center, and we're competitively priced on everything. For sales, service, collision, parts, and more, we do it all. Come see us today or visit us online at BenDavisChevrolet.com and BenDavisFord.com.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday. Chris Denari from the Indiana Pacers stopping by as he usually does. And Pacers off to a good start after the break, Chris.
Yeah, 3-1 homestand. Really good to see. Good win last night against Toronto. Tyrese Halliburton was outstanding. He had 33 points, 11 assists. He averaged 25 and 12 during those 4 games. Shot 63% from the field, 53% from three-point range. So he's really got it dialed in. And in a couple hours, the Pacers will head to Miami for a game with the Heat tomorrow night. And then back home for home games Sunday against Chicago and Houston on Tuesday. So really a nice way to come out of the All-Star break with 6 of the first 7 at home.
Yeah, nice time to heading out to Miami, by the way. I wish I could jump in the suitcase. Wouldn't be a bad time to go down there. You'll get a chance to see former Indiana player Kel'el Ware as well. Miami, they're doing pretty well. They've got a nice little nucleus as well.
Yeah, they do. They're still under 500, but they've got a majority of their games, like the Pacers, at home in the final third of the season. I think they play like 9 of their next 10 at home. So they have a chance to move up. Indiana's currently in 4th in the East. Milwaukee's a game behind. Detroit's a game behind. And then you've got the 4 teams, Miami, one of those, that's in a play-in situation right now. So the one thing you want to do if you're Indiana is you want to stay in that 4, 5, or 6. Preferably you'd like to stay in 4 because that gives you home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. So they're in a good position right now. 33 and 24, 9 games over 500. Think about it, Jim. You know, back in December, we were talking, this team was 10 and 15 and really treading water. And they've done a really good job. They're 23 and 9 since. They're 17 and 6 in 2025. They played some really good basketball. The other thing is they've been impressive on the road. They've won 8 of their last 10 on the road. They beat Miami the last time they were down in Miami. So I think there's a lot of momentum for the Pacers heading into tomorrow's game.
Yeah, and then it's kind of a balanced schedule after that. They had a nice little home stand there for a minute, but then it's pretty bouncy after that. Home and away, as the typical NBA schedules get.
Yeah, I mean, there's a stretch there where it's 3 on the road, come back at home and play Milwaukee, and then go 3 on the road. And then you come back, and I think it's 11 of the last 15 at home. And one of the reasons March is always a little difficult for the Pacers is this year you have the Big Ten women's tournament. You have the Big Ten men's tournament this weekend. Now, the Pacers will be home Sunday, but Saturday you have the Indiana girls state finals. You've got the boys state finals at the end of March. So that always is going to put the Pacers in a predicament as far as in the month of March, they're usually going to be on the road more than they are at home. I think many people, you probably included, would say the Big Ten tournament should be in Indianapolis every year. It is the best place. It's the best building. When it goes to Chicago, the United Center is a long way from downtown Chicago. If you're in Indianapolis and you're flying in, you can Uber or taxi downtown and never have to rent a car, right? And you can walk anywhere you want to restaurants, to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So, that would be something that I don't think the Big Ten will do that. I heard Football Media Day is in Las Vegas next year. So, but clearly Indianapolis is the best site for that tournament.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. Unfortunately, it won't always stay there, but it's just a great sports town. We all know that. I wish it would stay there. But it sounds like there's a basketball problem in Indiana. Because not only do they have all of that you mentioned, but then they'll end up having, I think, a tournament site here again this year. I don't know what round, I think, and then the NIT for men and women is here. The Division II and III championships are also not in Indianapolis, I don't think, but in Indiana as well. So a little bit of basketball. Oh, and then the Chipotle High School National Finals goes on as well. So a little bit of basketball happening in the state at this time.
No question. I mean, there's so many great venues when you think about, Hinkle and Gamebridge Fieldhouse, but all of those areas, and my kids did it years ago, all those youth places, Grand Park, just all the places, the Pacers Fieldhouse up there that probably will host part of that. The spring really is a wonderful time for basketball, leading into the NBA playoffs, and then, of course, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever for another great year this summer.
You think about it, Indiana probably has the nicest or most iconic venues basketball wise of any state, and that's saying something because Indiana is not a large state. But Hinkle, Simon Scott Assembly Hall, Mackey, Gamebridge is probably, if not one of the premier NBA facilities. It's just a great all-around facility. And you've even got the Coliseum where the NBA used to roam. So
and they've renovated that over the years. And then you step into the high school ranks. You go to Newcastle, you go to Seymour, you go to Washington, Columbus.
Hatchet House.
Yeah, Hatchet House. You can go on and on. The Wigwam, the old Wigwam. I mean, Kokomo. I mean, there's just so many iconic basketball venues in our state.
And we're grateful for them. And there's so many that they're not even in use anymore. That's cool. But the Pacers, they seem to be, as badly as they started out, and I maybe shouldn't say badly, is, inconsistent, whatever word you want to use. It wasn't this, it was a little scary.
Yeah.
But especially coming off of the season they came off of. But is it me, or do they look a little stronger right now than they did at this time last year?
Well, that's a good point. They have a better record than they had at this point last year by a game or two. I just think that, the injuries took their toll early in the year. When you missed Andrew Nemhard for 14 games, Aaron Nesmith for 30 plus, Ben Shepherd for a dozen, those are your three best defenders. Those are your three best connectors. Those are your three best cutters. And when you add them back into the mix with how well Tyrese Halliburton's playing, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Benedict Mathurin, this is a very deep basketball team. So unfortunately, Jim, early in the season, we didn't see that depth. And now the Pacers have that depth, and it makes them I think, a very good team.
Absolutely. Hey, you have any thoughts about joining Bob Kravitz at Helium and putting together a little on-stage stand-up comedy act?
No, I don't think I would be very good at that at all. No. I would have zero. I'm a pretty confident person. You can put a mic in front of me. I do a lot of post-game events with our players, and sometimes the players aren't out early enough, and I'm up there with 500-600 people talking and all that. I can do that. Doing comedy, no chance.
I can do comedy. It just isn't funny. It's funny to me. I think I'm funny, but don't always have that same reaction. So there is that. I love people that are just off the cuff witty, just nonstop. To me, that is one of the greatest gifts you can have in anything. I don't care what you are. If you're a CEO and you're standing up in front of your shareholders and you can be like that, or in a position like this, or mass media, whatever, that's a talent.
Yeah, it is. I from a comedy standpoint, I don't have that talent. From talking, sure, I can talk, but I'm not going to talk and be funny. That's not in my DNA. So I admire Bob that he is taking that step. I know he's done that before with Scott Long and, in a fundraiser situation. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Let's say March 6th.
I think
Damn,
I'm
you're
on
out
the
of
road.
town. You're on
Yeah,
the
I'm on the
road. You're in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Ah, too bad. Too bad.
Yeah. Too
Oh,
bad I
well.
can't get there to heckle Bob.
That's what I said. I go, I'm going to come. He's like, no heckle. I'm like, oh, bull. You think I'm not going to heckle? Absolutely, I'm going to heckle, and I am going to make it there. And I'd like to say, get some people out there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start campaigning from now until that point. We're going to, I don't know how much that place holds. We're going to rock it. Chris,
I'll tell you some hard truth, and you'll be heckling pretty hard, won't you?
Yeah, there you go. But oh, that's right. Absolutely, you're the man. Need to get you some hard truth. But I'm not sure what your flavor would be out of all of the things they have. Cinnamon vodka or the toasted.
Ooh, I like
coconut
cinnamon.
rum.
I'm a cinnamon guy. So
That's a big favorite, man. That's cinnamon vodka. And but speaking of cinnamon, all right, you are the man.
All right.
Chris Denari, appreciate you as always. Enjoy your trip. Safe travels.
Okay, talk to you next week.
Thank you for taking time to be with us, buddy.
All right, see you, Jim.
Yes, sir. We've got more coming up. Back with it on the other side of these messages from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Right after I can get down to it. But after these messages. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday, joined now by our good friend Shannon Griffith, our football analyst. How's it going, man?
It's going well. Getting a little warmth around the state of Indiana here and there. So spring's shortly upon us.
You know what that means? Spring football.
Yes.
Although I know everybody wants to talk about Indiana basketball right now and the coaching search, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But there's honestly, there's not a lot of talk about other than some scenarios, which we'll create just for the sake of argument, because it cracks me up the takes that are out there, and I'm talking about coming from people, the so-called people in the media, and just because somebody works in the media per se does not mean they have information about things. If you don't, especially when you don't actively cover someone, but I've heard different things like, oh, Indiana's got their guy already. And I'm like, no, they don't.
Oh,
No, they don't. There's way too much stuff that has to happen that basically can't be done at this time.
no.
I mean, some of it can be, a good portion of it can be. You can know that you're heading in that direction, but to say that Indiana has their guy, I would find that beyond hard to believe, because that means that coach who was actively coaching has taken enough time to think about that job while he's in the middle of doing what he's doing now. So I just not there, but I do think that it is a short list right now.
Yeah.
I think that Scott Dolson has 3, maybe 4 guys that he has narrowed it down to. And all right, someone like Scott Drew, a name that I throw out because it's a definite possibility. I know that it may not be a sure thing. I'm not saying it is. And I'm not, these are not my favorites or who I think, but he's doable from a financial standpoint. I take all of these things into consideration. His buyout is doable. It's $4.5 million. That's where you start. So that's doable. He's been down there for a long time. Maybe it's time for a change. Indiana offers some things that even Baylor doesn't offer.
Right.
Because they have a lot of money down there. But I don't think they have the basketball NIL that that Indiana does. And when the house case comes around, 75% of the money is going to the football players. We'll talk about that too. As Georgia was honest enough to talk about that. But you can come to Indiana and he's going to have all the resources he wants. He's not going to make a ton more money. So it wouldn't be necessarily about money, but although Indiana would have to pay him more than he's making now, which would probably be, $5 to $6 million to start. But that's an option. TJ Otzelberger from Iowa State, I think, is a definitive option. His buyout went from 16 to 4 million. He's a viable candidate. And although he is having success at Iowa State right now, a top 5 team, which is remarkable. If you can build it there, why would he leave? But again, although he's built a great team, I don't know how sustainable that is because there's no way they have the basketball NIL resources that Indiana does.
Yeah.
So, and it's Indiana. That just like Tom Crean said, every time I hear him say that on the video at the games, but it's true. It's Indiana. Well, it's Indiana. It's not like it used to be, but it can be easily. And I think that any coach worth his salt knows that. Indiana basketball is a sleeping giant. I mean, surely to God, they look at what Kurt Signetti did. The Indiana football program was a breathing corpse, is all that it was. And now it's a walking, talking Victoria's Secret model. That's remarkable. But basketball is so much easier to do.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to look at that. Viable candidates. So there's 2. After those 2, there's a lot of places they can go. Grant McCaslin at Texas Tech, Ben McCollum at Drake. That's kind of that's a Kurt Signetti-esque. That's a Kurt Signetti-esque hire. That would be because he had a lot of success at the Division II level. Very successful. But now he's moved up to Division I. He's at Drake. He's doing well there. Winning translates, man. I've said this over and over, but I use Kalen DeBoer as an example. Winning translates. He won like 1,000 games in NAIA, but it was NAIA. Boy, it didn't matter because, and what is it about the Dakotas? Seriously, you don't think of athletes when you think of North and South Dakota.
Right.
But when it comes to football, those suckers are great in their, they're not in the upper level, but don't mess with them in their deal, because whether it's North Dakota, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, man, they grow football.
Yeah. It's been an interesting dynamic through the years of why those areas have become a hotbed. And when it comes to throwing out national championships at different levels over the last few years. And I think it was at North Dakota State, I think, gave Colorado all they wanted this past year in a game early in the season, and really could have gone either way. So, yeah, it's an interesting deal when you talk about North Dakota and South Dakota and what has transpired between those two states over the last 10 years.
Oh no, Rudy. I caught that and I said, he played for one last year. Real quick. Relax. No, Mason Gillis is with Duke, Stephen. He is not with Kansas, but Kansas picked up AJ Storr from Wisconsin. We're jumping all over the place. I'm grabbing
I got one question for you in this basketball arena of everything. Why isn't Steve Alford a considered?
Let me stop right there.
Because I still don't understand
right there.
that one.
Well, let me quickly explain it to you. He has a ton of wins. He's won like over 600 games.
Yeah.
Okay, but look at, first of all, where he's won a lot of those games, but more importantly, look at his tournament record. He has been a Division I basketball coach for 30 seasons now, I believe. It's either 30 or 31. I think this is 30. In those 30 seasons, he made the NCAA tournament 13 times. I think 4 of those came in his 5 years at UCLA. And in all 13, in all of that, in 30 years and only 13 NCAA tournaments, his ceiling is making the Sweet 16 4 times. So if you average that out 4 times over 30 years, every 7-8 years, you go to the Sweet 16 and that's it.
Yeah.
He's never done anything. He's never done anything.
Right. I mean, I don't disagree at all.
But no, that's the answer. I mean, to me, that has to be the answer. He's a good guy. Now, he also, if you want to talk about, he's got a little bit of baggage. There was an issue that happened at Iowa with a player that was, I believe, accused of rape, and that I don't think was handled well. So, there's that.
No, there's plenty of qualified candidates out there, but there has to be a mutual interest on both sides of the coin, and not all parties are going to be interested, even though Indiana, like you said, is a sleeping giant for the last 10 years.
Rudy, and I understand this sentiment, says Indiana nearly lost last night to Penn State at home, but they're going to pick it up in the tournament. You can't look at it that way, man. Every game is a game in and of itself, and it was about matchups. And early on, that Yannick kid, he's a 7-footer for Penn State, he's much more athletic than, say, Umar Ballo. And Umar Ballo had trouble with him to start the game. Yannick had up to 9 points, and Ballo had like 3, but then things turned around. He started feeling it, and he ended up with 20 points, 12 boards, and 5 assists. And Indiana they're very short right now. They didn't have Malik Renew. I don't know what's going on with Bryson Tucker. So they've got a very short lineup. The fact that they're doing what they're doing is kind of amazing. I'm not saying that they're going to pick it up in the tournament. I think that they can make the tournament, though. They just have to go now 2-1 the remainder of the way. Just take it a game at a time. They've got to win the Washington game because, first of all, Washington sucks.
Yeah.
But anybody on any given night, if you're not ready, I'm telling you, Washington has beaten 4 teams. It's not like they haven't won a game this year. And of those 4 teams or 4 wins, I'm trying to remember who it was that they beat, but every team in the Big Ten, no matter how, and Washington is the dead last in conference play at 4-13. So no, you cannot be that 5th win. That would be a horrible loss. They've lost 3 in a row at the moment. USC, man, they had it going. Now they've lost 4 in a row. They're in the bottom 3. They are potentially not going to make the tournament. Northwestern and Minnesota and Iowa. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we've got 4 teams. We've got a race at the top between Michigan and Michigan State, and they play each other to end the season for the Big Ten title. At the bottom, you have Washington dead last, Penn State next at 5-13. But that next team up that will not get to play in the Big Ten tournament, there are 4 teams tied at 6-11. So that'd be wild to see. You know what? Someone may end up getting in on a tiebreaker. How bad is that? But Indiana right now 8-9 in the Big Ten. Let's say they win at Washington. That's 9-9. I think they could go 10-10 now. I had them picked at a 9. I'll tell you right now, I picked them at 9-11 way back, and I had them at 18-13. If they do now what it looks like they can possibly do, I think they can get to 20 wins and 10-10 in the conference. If they do that, I think they will slide into the NCAA tournament. It's a weak bubble this year. That's partly why Indiana is still in consideration. Because in any other year, there's no way that I think that this team would get in. But you look at Ohio State. I don't understand a team that is 16-13. Boy, did they I'd like to have seen what their net ranking would have been had they lost last night. They nearly did to Nebraska, but their net ranking is like, did it go up from what it was after getting a win? They were at like 36, which is crazy. There's just no explanation for Ohio State. They climbed a spot. Yeah. They're 16-13, and they're 33rd in the net ranking. Guess who is just in front of them one spot? Oregon, who is 20-8. What are you kidding me? Oregon is 20-8, and Ohio State is 16-13. All right, here's the 2 teams that bookend Ohio State in the net rankings. Oregon is 32. Utah State is 34. Ohio State in the middle at 33. The records of those teams bookending Ohio State: Oregon 20-8, like I said. Utah State 23-5. And they're one spot below Ohio State. UConn at 19-9 is below Ohio State. Creighton is 20-8. They're below Ohio State. San Diego, UC San Diego, 22-4, below Ohio State. Texas, it's just nuts. But who knows? These numbers are crazy. Indiana right now at 56.
Yeah. One thing about Indiana's roster is everybody is well versed in who they have, who they don't have, is they've got a good enough roster that if they could theoretically get on a run and do quite well, because they do have a talented group of players. If they can get them all playing on the same page, that's been the biggest problem. Now, the last couple wins, you see that glimmer of hope, but I thought they played, the second half of Purdue was lights out. And, I know they struggled with Penn State and stuff, but hey, man, a win's a win is a win. And what you need now is wins, and that builds confidence and so forth and so on. So talent-wise, they've got the talent to do some good things and great things if they can put it all together. That's the thing that's been the frustrating part, I think I could see from observationally looking at it, is that it's been a frustrating group to see the inconsistencies that you see up and down the lineup throughout the year.
Yeah, and I can't believe it's coming to an end.
I know.
It's going to be here fast, people. You've only got 3 regular season games remaining, and then the Big Ten tournament, bam, and then the NCAA tournament. And I know it, adding that up, that's still what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks or so. But it'll be gone. That means March. That means March will be eaten up so fast. And it does get eaten up fast because you get in the first week of March is the last week of the regular season. Second week of March, you got conference tournaments going on. Third and fourth week of March, you've got the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament, and then the championships at the first weekend of April. Boom, March is gone. Whew. Gone.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of gone, we're going to be gone for just a minute to take a break from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. We'll talk some football on the backside. Got some new guys coming in, lots of new visits, some new pieces. Indiana football's for real, people, and they will be back. I think that we'll talk about my predictions on the backside when we hit it. We'll be back with more right after these messages from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Ugly Grouper, located on beautiful Anna Maria in Florida, is the place to be, and not just because they have unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. The Ugly Grouper is family-friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Maria Island, Florida. Tell them Indiana Sports Beat sent you. Go to theUglyGrouper.com for more information. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday, joined by our good friend and football analyst, Shannon Griffith. Football analyst for the Hoosier.com, by the way. he loves to express his vast knowledge, and we love to soak it in, baby. We love to soak it in because there's nothing better than having actual knowledge about things and not be just opinions like we've got going on with basketball right now, because there are 1,000 opinions. It's so fun. It's so funny too about this coaching search. As I've said this, now that Brad Stevens, who was never a reality, is officially off the table. Now that Dusty May, who was a reality, is off the table. And Chris Beard is a no-go. I'm telling you. It's not going to happen. I don't care about him being the best fit. And yes, he is. And yes, he wants the job. And yes, he would do freaking great.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it's not going to happen. And you can complain about it all you want. And I get it. But there's also, it's not just about wins and losses, people. There's just more. I think there's more to that situation than just that situation, because truth be told, he probably, from what I understand, was not the aggressor in that. And I understand that kind of a situation. We all do. I'm not blaming a man or a woman, but it's not like women can't start problems and escalate problems and create a problem and then yet be seen as sometimes the victim. We've seen that happen. I'm not saying that is the case all the time. I'm just saying that can happen. Very well could have happened in this case. Again, it doesn't even matter, because there are other issues with it that people are just not aware of. But the long and the short of it is, it's not going to happen. Right. So just accept that and move on. Now, let it go into the by. Feel like Fred Sanford on Sanford and Son. And who am I? He would love to sing. But yeah, the names, now that it comes down to names, but Scott Drew, TJ Otzelberger, two great names, selections. And then you start veering a little bit. It's not that you never know. I mean, Ben McCollum could be the guy. Mark Byington at Vanderbilt, formerly of James Madison. It could be magical. Who knows? Those guys are both successful where they are right now. So it would reason that you would be successful at Indiana, but that's not the case. The Indiana job is not for everyone. It is not just a coaching job. It is so much more than that. Until Kurt Cignetti came along, the basketball coach was pretty much the face of Indiana.
Right.
Be truthful. That's what anybody leaned to. And Kurt Cignetti now has done an incredible job of carving his own little piece of Indiana's Mount Rushmore. And he will no doubtedly change. He's already changed probably the face of Indiana's Mount Rushmore, which who is on that? Well, it's probably something that has changed over the years, because who would be on Indiana's Mount Rushmore right now? And I'm not talking about one particular thing. This is overall. Or if we're going with four, it's, Bob Knight's easy. Mm-hmm. Boom. You go ahead and put him up there. That one's done. Bill Mallory was probably on it prior to the arrival of Kurt Cignetti.
Yeah.
And even though Kurt Cignetti has only been here a season, I get that. But he did more for Indiana football in this one season than I think any other coach has probably ever done for Indiana football, period, already. So Kurt Cignetti is undoubtedly going to be on the Indiana Mount Rushmore.
And Bill Mallory would be fired up for Kurt Cignetti and what he's done as well.
Oh, he would love it. He would
Yeah,
love it.
he would
love the
love it.
football. He would love the football. Someone else that can put himself on Indiana's Mount Rushmore is Scott Dolson. If and only if he gets this basketball hire right. If he is successful in getting the right guy, and putting Indiana in a position to be Indiana.
Right.
It's not his responsibility to make them Indiana. As long as they have the resources, and if they get the right guy, it's up to that guy. But if it turns out that Indiana basketball can return to being successful, they're not going to return to, let's be honest, I don't see them returning to the days of night, because if you look around, nobody is doing that anymore.
No.
It's too hard. Look at Kansas. Look at North Carolina. Look at Kentucky. It's hard. Duke is doing the best out of the Blue Bloods. They've changed coaches and managed to stay up, but it is
the difference why it's changed is that when Bobby Knight was here, he commanded the media attention both on and off the basketball court. So everything that was on TV, even national TV, was Indiana basketball. So that in itself was a huge draw. Nowadays, you're sharing it with a multitude of basketball programs. It's changed. I mean, that's why, like you just said, trying to reach back and, capture the night years in today's world of basketball is impossible. It's just an impossible feat to have that type of stature within the college ranks. Now, that doesn't mean they can't be elite and be in the tops of, in those conversations when you mentioned the words Duke and all those others that you had mentioned there. But I don't think they can get back to what Knight did here at Indiana. It's a different time period.
And if you have any wonders why Indiana's not going to hire Chris Beard, go watch the 30 for 30 Last Days of Night that I talked about it yesterday, because I happened to just catch it the night before last. It just happened to be on, and it had been quite a while since I'd watched it. And boy, Indiana, if you go back and look at that, you realize how poorly of a light Indiana allowed itself to be in with the accumulative things that Bob Knight did. Many of the things that people didn't know about that came out, that a lot of people knew about it if you were on the inside, but and there's still so many things that people don't know, and it's not about bashing. It's even the greatness a lot of times comes with some caveats. And that greatness had a lot of caveats. And he couldn't coach today.
Oh no. And just like Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes couldn't coach today, because those guys were like Bob Knight, very intense, very aggressive, and not afraid to do things that in today's world would not even pass the smell test in terms of expectations.
Russell getting excited says, no Pitino and no Painter. First of all, Rick Pitino would not come to Indiana. He's where he wants to be, and you would be fortunate to have Rick Pitino. If they had hired Rick Pitino 4 years ago, they'd be playing for national championships right now. And Matt Painter, I get that. He's a great coach, but I think he's going to have to make an adjustment. Greg Gard made an adjustment, and Matt Painter is going to have to make an adjustment. They've just never achieved greatness. And you can talk about last year all you want, but that is Zach Edey. And boom, that says all of that. But my bigger point is Pitino and Painter are not candidates. So stop getting excited about things that are not realistic, people. Just stick. There's enough to get excited about with the reality of things. So, Aaron says that Matt Painter has painted himself into a corner with IU fans. They'll probably be especially mean next year. I guess that's in relation to his comments after the IU game. That wasn't really geared towards IU fans per se. It was just geared towards fans. Now, the one thing that he did say something that I'm like, well, that's not. Oh, he talked about Indiana's quick change in coaches here recently probably adds to the problem of the impatience. Well, the reason that there were coaching changes because it was needed. They weren't good. They're not good. They're not succeeding. It's easy for somebody else to say when, that was horse crap. But at the same time, what is he going to say? Indiana's right for getting rid of their coaches. Nah, he can't say that. But he probably shouldn't have said anything at all in that regard. And I like Matt Painter. He normally is one of the best, well-spoken coaches in the league. He'll be honest. He won't bull crap. He won't give you bull crap. He'll give you an honest answer. And that was an honest answer, but I don't know that he was he's not in touch with the situation because he's not around it. So you know how that can go. So we'll see. But we're not talking about much football, man. Basketball just sucks it in no matter what. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and do that for the next segment. But we will. There's plenty of things to talk about. 4-star quarterback Brody McWhirter listed his top schools. You've got 2026 offensive lineman Jonathan Besvern-Hill. I don't know how to say his name. He's set to visit Indiana. 4-star in-state target Jeremy Fentz breaks down his Indiana interest. You've got 2027 offensive lineman Khalil Johnson, a recent visit to Indiana. They are bringing the guys in. And they are bringing in the guys that they're going to need without question. Offensive line was a huge point of emphasis. Here's another 2026 offensive lineman, Jake Palucki, intrigued after his recent visit to Indiana. Offensive lineman. Yeah. That's right there. The guys I just talked about, they're on the front page of the Hoosier.com right now on different stories. And offensive lineman, what was that? 3 different offensive linemen we're talking about?
Yep. All big size, good length kids, Bob Bobstead types, those kids that can stay in the trenches and, punch you in the nose, but at the same time able to move. That gives them the versatility of what they like to do. And they're starting to knock on the door of upper echelon recruits and getting in the conversation with those type of kids. And hey, that's where they need to be.
Well, that's where you have to be, because that's the difference. You have to have an offensive line in college football. And by an offensive line, I don't mean just have players. You've got to have size and depth. And Indiana did not have either of those really last year. They had very viable players who, played their butts off, but they didn't really have size. They were lacking in size, and they were making ends to fix that.
Well, you can just look at who they brought in from Notre Dame, Coggin, who's 6'5", 300-pounder plus, and he was at center, for Notre Dame. And you got to get to that, the 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" type of kid nowadays to really have an offensive line that is good enough to protect and good enough to be able to open the run lanes for your running backs. And like you said, they're not there yet. Overall, but they're working to get there, and to get those type of kids, you've got to be able to talk to the guys that are the no brainer type of recruits. You throw on the tape and you like, yeah, he's a no doubter in that regard. And that's been the hard part for Indiana, especially in the offensive line category for the most part, is getting those kids with size to get them enough of them in the front door.
Definitely. And that will breed others, as a matter of fact. And success just breeds success, period.
Yes.
And that's just a given. That's why Ohio State gets guys 3 deep at positions who don't see the field for 2 to 3 years, but they wait, they bide their time. And meanwhile, but Indiana and under Kurt Cignetti has done an unbelievable job of filling in everything he needed in his first season. That was a remarkable job to do that in football. Basketball, 13 guys.
Yeah, right.
6, 7 good ones. Football, oh, don't get me started. And so now imagine Indiana last year, they had to do everything first, new. It was all brand new offense, brand new defense, brand new vernacular, brand new coaches, brand new players, yada, yada, yada. Well, I just created a new yada, yada. I turned it into yada, 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 yada.
Yada, yada.
But this year they're able to fill holes that they saw last year that they had with better players, which will make them better. The offensive line I keep talking about, because everything else is already pretty good. The defensive line, they needed to spruce up as well, but linebacker, pretty damn good. Secondary, pretty damn good.
Better.
Running backs room, pretty damn good. Roman Hemby, wide receivers room, pretty damn good. I mean, maybe the best receiving core in the Big Ten next year. And quarterback, pretty damn good. Who's backup quarterback?
You're going to have, it's going to be an interesting
I'll be talking Fernando and Alberto.
Very well could be.
Menendez brother. Oh, it's not the Menendez brothers, right?
Mendoza's,
not the Menendez. That would not be good.
Yeah. But, and then, they brought the Grant Wilson kid from Old Dominion, and I like him on tape. I mean, he's good, can sling it around the place and does it with high efficiency and accuracy. And, but it's just going to be a matter of this spring to see what all do they all absorb of this offense that Shanahan and Coach Cignetti has. And out of all of them, Alberto has the upper hand right now because he's been through it for 1 year. So he understands it better than that. But I got a sneaking suspicion that Fernando has picked it up pretty quickly because that young man's pretty smart and all that from that standpoint.
And I've talked about this a lot, but Fernando was the older brother in high school. He led the high school team for 2 or 3 years, whatever. He was at the helm. When he graduated, Alberto stepped right up for the next few years. I see that very thing happening at Indiana. And first of all, how wild is that? I don't recall. Have you ever seen 2 brothers follow each other in college football at quarterback at this level?
No, I haven't seen that. I mean, it's not uncommon to see it at the high school level, for that matter of fact. But to see it carry on to the next level is a little different to see and understand. But I do think they'll have a good strong room with some depth. And you were talking about the offensive line. One thing that everyone has to keep in mind is that they've got to have the foundational parts of the program, and these are the guys that are the true freshmen and second year players that are that foundation. And so solidifying that offensive line room like they have with some of these young kids, not only this year but who they're recruiting for 2026, these are the kids that you still have to develop players, and offensive line is one of those positions that developing an offensive line takes time. Now, Coach Bobstead's done a heck of a job when he came in, and he just basically had to throw something together to see what would work. And you saw what happened this year when he had a little bit more time and understood his all the different characteristics in the room. He was able to put a pretty good offensive line out in front of Rourke and the running backs. So that's the biggest thing that, you have to maintain is that foundation, because the portal is so tempting that you'll just say, well, we're going to go to the portal and get X, Y, and Z every year. Well, that's not true, because the rules are going to change as it pertains to the portal and how that all is operated. And you've got to have the traditional recruiting classes that is the foundation of the program. And those are the kids that you have to develop in hopes that year 3 and year 4, they're productive players on the field for you. And you're not having to duck into the portal all the time and trying to find somebody to save the roster in that regard. So plus you got the new rule, the 105 limit of your roster size coming into play very shortly. Well, this year, because no longer you can't have 120 kids in the program. It's 105 and that's it. So you got to make sure everything's spread out evenly. So you're looking for 14 to 15 offensive linemen in that 105.
Absolutely. I'm glad you got to talk there. Monroe County fans says, why have a guest on if they never get to talk? So I'm glad we got the muzzle off of you. So you can see. That's because I love to hear my voice. I love to hear myself talk. Monroe County, just kidding. Hey, let's take our last break before we come back and talk some more football and talk specifically about some of these guys and positions. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you as always. Shannon Griffith along as well. Back with more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after this. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue. And you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday. Boy, I wish I could say Friday. But It is what it is.
It's
last
coming.
week of February, man.
I know.
Mean, today's the 27th. We've got one more day. And March is here on Saturday.
I know.
I can't believe I'm excited. Although, don't get excited, people. It takes about 2 weeks of March to get the March to get till you really get. The most exciting thing about March is the time change.
Yeah, we'll get back to the normal way of doing things.
Some daylight.
Yeah.
Get some daylight, man.
And then you got the high school sectionals start coming up, and that's usually when you get your last taste of full winter blast, first round of high school sectionals.
I believe that I recall back in '87 when Indiana won the national title last. I think that was in March. The tournament was still in March. Actually, it finished in March. But I believe there was like 10 inches of snow in southern Indiana at that time, if I remember correctly. But we'll see. Indiana football, a lot of visits. 2026 offensive lineman Jonathan Bezverhinil. He ain't from around here. Just kidding.
He's a big fella.
Yeah, he's a big boy. 6'5", 303 pounds. That's what I'm talking about. That's the beef you gotta cut. And this is a high school kid.
Mm-hmm.
This is before you get him into college and get him on the program that he'll get on. But that's the kind of guy we're talking about. He's an interior offensive lineman set to visit Indiana on June 3rd for the Hoosiers big man camp. And that's another thing. Indiana getting players into these camps. They are coming in now because you have very successful position coaches, very successful program. When you have a success, it breeds success. Said that all the time. But
well, yeah, and the month of June is the critical month because in today's recruiting calendar, with that early signing period in December, the month of June is your big month for not only the kids that have been offered coming back on campus, maybe for an official visit during that time period. It also enables them to get eyes on kids for the next few recruiting classes. And just like this young man here, who's a big, strong looking kid, he has yet to get an offer. And so they want eyes on him. And that's the nice thing about summer camps. When you have these one-day camps, coaches can work with a kid. They can see his demeanor, his work ethic, how he handles coaching. And it's, so important in the process in today's recruiting that you get a chance to lay eyes on these guys and get an impression of a kid. And that's why they're so valuable, these one-day camps that these guys will be attending and going to here in June.
And finding guys like this who, and when I say like this, he's originally from Quebec. He moved to the United States to attend the Webb School in Bell Buckle, Tennessee around a year ago. And it wasn't until he sent his junior season film to Indiana's quality control coach for the offensive line and tight ends, Alex Higgins, that he landed on the Hoosiers' radar. So he had to get himself noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And there are plenty of guys out there like that because there are so many. But finding these little jewels, this is a way for Indiana to get around competing with Penn State and Ohio State and the likes.
Yeah, and that's what Coach Signetti and his staff had to do at James Madison as well. They're looking for the guys that get overlooked in some respects, and then they, are able to come in and take a kid that maybe people are missing on, and they get him in their program, develop him, and put him out there, and he's an all-conference type of player. And people are like, where did this kid come from? But camps are very vitally important. When I was at Ball State, the camp deal was just coming into play with your most recent class, because it was one of those things where offering kids what you wanted to make sure everything you saw on tape is being seen in your presence and you're having a chance to work with them. So like when I was coaching quarterbacks, I'd want to work with a quarterback. I wanted to observe their mechanics and their, and some of their knowledge, and, do some things that you can really get an indication whether they are a very good quarterback in terms of, up top, the mind aspect of things, and they knew how to run the show type of deal. So it's so important. And for a kid like this, it's going to be vitally important because he's not coming with an offer. And Indiana,
he'll get one.
Well, yeah. I mean, Bob Bostad probably wants to see him and work with him and things of that nature. But that's why these camps in June are important for these kids. And that's why you see so many kids coming to their one-day camps. I mean, they're very well attended. And I know they try to keep it as manageable as possible, but this recruiting calendar changed all the the organizational aspect of camps and how to utilize them and things of that magnitude.
Absolutely. Well, it's always a fun one, man. And
absolutely.
I appreciate you and look forward to doing more of it. Big thanks to each and every one of our viewers and listeners. We love you. We can't do it without you. And fortunately, we're back to do this again tomorrow and can't wait to do it. Go out and have yourselves a great day. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.